Hello, my name is Marc Golombeck. I am the founder of 8-Bit Shack, and today I want to give you some deeper insights into game development in double OS graphics on the Apple II. So, double OS. What are we talking about? What is double OS? So, double OS extends the abilities of single OS mode GR by doubling the number of available pixels. So normally you have 40 pixels in X direction, 48 pixels in Y direction. So we are doubling the number of pixels in the X direction. So we get 80 times 48 pixels for your graphics. The 16 low-res colors stay the same. So you also have 16 colors. But this graphic mode requires 128K of RAM, and half of the video memory which is used for displaying double OS graphics is located in auxiliary RAM, aux RAM. So the minimum system requirements is an Apple IIe, and the first revision A motherboards don't support double OS, so you need a revision B or anything else than a revision A motherboard, and you need an 80 column card which also supports double OS. It's an 80 column card. The first I have read, they also do not support double OS graphics, so you need an extended 80 column card which supports this graphic modes. The Apple IIc, 2C Plus or the 2GS are fine with this graphic mode, they work. Let's watch a short demonstration what double OS graphic looks like. You can see here it's a roto zoomer we produced a couple of years ago, which first starts in single low-res or standard low-res mode. You can see the core's resolution, and then it switches to double low-res, and you can see, this is now the double low-res resolution. And of course, the algorithm is much slower because the number of cycles needed to produce these graphics in double low-res is times 4, because we double the pixels here in X and in Y direction to make the picture looking more fine. And this is back to normal low res. You can see how coarse the picture gets. So you can see what double low res and low res looks in comparison when you run the program on the Apple II. Here again, double low res. What are general problems when you want to produce your own games or software using double OS mode? From Applesoft Basic, it's there's only limited access to double OS. There's no possibility to do that from the Apple IIe, but the Apple IIc and the Apple IIgs, lin, vlin, and plot commands support double OS. But there's not much possibility for you how you can use it from Applesoft. It has a very complicated memory management. So neighboring pixels like pixel x position 0 and x position 1, one pixel is at one location in main, and the next pixel is at the same location, aux memory, and this is true for all pixels in a row. So they're both two neighboring pixels always are main, aux, main, aux, main, aux. So how do you manage when objects move across the screen? This is a big problem. You have 2 pixels per byte, hence 2 bytes for a block of 4 pixels, and you also encode 2 lines in the Y direction with 1 byte, high nibble and low nibble for the 2 pixels, which are stacked on top of each other. Another problem is that color encoding in aux memory is different to main memory. So again, the question, how do you manage moving objects? You need to change the color palette when you move a column into aux mem from main mem and back. So this is also something your algorithm has to solve. And last but not least, there's no specialized video hardware on the Apple II that supports accelerated graphics like sprites. So you have to write your own solutions to accomplish this. The first idea was to create an ampersand library for easy access of double OS from Applesoft Basic. So we created the Dolores library in 2020, which contains a wide range of graphic primitive commands, like the plot xy command to plot a single pixel. So this was the first task to accomplish, to get this function done and try to do it as fast as possible in this weird memory setup of aux and main with neighboring pixels and stacked pixels, as I've told before. The library can not only plot a pixel, but it can draw a primitive like lines, rectangles, circles, and we have also developed a flood filling algorithm to fill areas between lines with a specified color. And you can see here the line command of the Dolores library, which lets you plot oblique lines, also vertical and horizontal lines, as you are used in the low-res mode here in double low-res graphics. This is a small demo program which is on the Dolores system disk. How is Dolores performing directly from Applesoft? Let's have a short look at this video which shows a bouncing ball like the Pong game, which is moving across the screen, being reflected at the walls. And this is what you get at maximum speed at 1 megahertz when you're using the Dolores library directly from Applesoft. And a drawing primitive is here just a point that is being plotted. What about programming games using Dolores? So for complex games, the graphic primitives that are available via Dolores are not sufficient. And so the need for a software sprite engine emerged pretty quickly since there's no hardware sprite engine available on Apple II machines. And so we programmed an extension to Dolores in 2021, which allows the use of sprites in Applesoft. It works nicely, but for animations, it is rather slow, as you can see in the following video, which shows a simple sprite that is moving across the double low-res screen. So this is nice for tile or puzzle games, but it is definitely too slow for action games. Let me explain some features of the sprite engines. You can have up to 16 sprites with a maximum of 256 pixels of each sprite. The sprite needs to have a rectangular shape. It can be a larger shape, which is thin, or it can also be a square shape. So this is up to you. You can define it like you wish. You can set one color of the 16 colors as a mask color for see-through effects, and some machines, the two grays are the same. So I can use one of the gray colors, as we did, as a color mask. The virtual desktop is much larger than the visible screen you can see, so the sprites can enter and leave the screen on each of the on each of the edges of the screen. The following demo shows some of the features here. This is a demo coded in assembly language, which shows moving apples moving inside and out of the screen boundary here. More features of the sprite engine. The sprites are stored from D000 area in aux memory. So this is the language card in aux memory. Sprites can be grabbed from the screen, or they can be designed using a special sprite maker tool, which is also supplied on disk when you download it. And they can also be loaded from a binary file into memory. So the following example shows you the process. So you're putting sprites in the buffer area, store it in the language card, and then the animation is done using the sprite engine from Applesoft. And you can see the speed is quite high here with this single sprite animation. So, and you can use this for, as I told before, for doing tile games or puzzle games in Applesoft that don't need the speed of high-res arcade graphics. And I will show you an example of that concept on the next slide. This is a game example using double low-res engine with Applesoft. It's a double low-res version of the well-known Minesweeper game. It was coded by Daniel Henderson. Also the graphic design, the great graphic design was done by Daniel Henderson. And this game runs nicely in Applesoft, and it can be downloaded for free from our website. The next game we produced was Witch Trial, which is the first of its kind point-and-click adventure in double OS for the Apple II series of computers. We're extending the Dolores capabilities with a user interface where you can use the mouse or joystick for pointing and clicking on items on the screen and interact with the game. We also added additional graphic routines like blenders. We added a Mockingbird soundtrack for improving the atmosphere of the game. The game control and the logic is still all programmed in AppleSoft, but this is the first hybrid approach combining AppleSoft and assembly routines for doing a nice new game. And the technical concept using AppleSoft is still fast enough to produce a game of that type. I will show you some screens, some video footage of the game. First you choose if you want to use mouse or joystick, and you're then presented with the starting screen. This is your character, which has been accused of witchcraft, and the objective of the game is to prove that you're not a witch by solving puzzles in the game while walking around the parish of Woodford. Let's switch a bit further in the video. Here's an example of the interaction. You can talk to the villagers. You will get responses, tasks, which you have to fulfill. On the right side, you can see the user interface where you can steer the character through the parish of Woodford. You can see the amazing double OS graphics, which have all been drawn by Daniel Henderson. He's a really great graphics artist on the Apple II. So here you're at the well now. As you can see, there's a bucket of water which you can collect and put into your inventory, and this bucket is then needed for fulfilled tasks. So what is important for developing action games for double OS graphics? It's the need for speed. So the gameplay has to be fully assembly coded. We use a small as possible Dolores engine, so only functions that are needed for the game are included in the development version. We have a very complicated memory management for action games, like we need to put the Dolores library somewhere. We have the game code. We have the background music player with the music data files. We have game data, which we need to store somewhere, especially the background images and the sprites. And the solution so far is that we put the sprite engine in aux memory, in the high area of the aux memory. The music player is in auxiliary memory, as well as the music files. And the main memory is used for the game logic, with a fast background image scrolling and blending effects. And we also store most of the background image data in the main memory. In 2021, we're producing the first action game in double OS. It was a Star Wars theme-based game with a Christmassy touch for the Apple II. It was programmed for the software programming contest in the Apple II software programmers group on Facebook, and it won the first prize. The game features a see-through crosshair, which is controllable via the joystick. You have a scrolling background. You have laser fire on enemy foes and explosions. Problem we had here was to determine the correct sprite drawing order for undrawing the sprites and leaving the background intact. So maybe it's best I show you a video which shows the main features of the game. Like you can see here, the crosshair, which can aim on different objects. These are your friends, you should not shoot them. And you see the explosion in the background happening. So this is a basic game concept, a background scrolling game with a crosshair. It's a bit like it's the game Warhoon, where you could shoot down hens now the objective in this game is that you need to defend Santa Claus against the evil Christmas pudding and other enemy foes that try to invade the North Pole just before Christmas and steal away all the Christmas presents for the kids. And so it's a fast aim and shoot game. You need to collect points. Every shot costs a single point, and so you're not supposed to shoot wildly around, and you only have a given period of time to collect your points. So the problem is you need to coordinate and move several sprites, and they should also move fast to give the game a bit more difficulty, that enter and leave the visible screen area at different positions. Have another impression of the gameplay now. You can see the time is running down, and here's one enemy foe is a candy stick, which you can shoot, or the champagne bottle give the most points. And you can see now, yes, success. So we shot the candy stick. Some foes are really easy to catch. Some champagne bottle is a bit harder. And we have 3 different backgrounds that are glued together and give you like an endless scenery when you scroll to the left and the right. Yeah, gingerbread man is a bit harder to catch, and the turkey is the hardest enemy foe. And here's a Christmas pudding. So you see, you also have a lot of a miss. The last double low risk game we produced was Angry Birds, a tribute to the original game with 25 levels of slingshot action. And we produced it in the autumn of last year before Christmas. The game contains fast sprite drawing, background scrolling, and a soundtrack, as well as in the pudding game. But also, which is new now, is a physics engine which calculates the flight trajectory of the birds. And you have, let's say, a target interaction where you can destroy the target. And you have also a physics engine which does the demolition of the target. So it's the most advanced Dolores library we have produced so far. It also has a print string function and several fonts where you can print out easily scores and other text on the screen. The menu system with a high score management, the info screens is completely coded in AppleSoft. So we are using the hybrid approach here to combine the advantages of AppleSoft with the advantages of pure assembly language. So the game engine is 100% assembly language, which is seamlessly integrated in the AppleSoft environment, and the user does not feel or has any clue or hint when we switch from assembly to AppleSoft back and forth. The memory usage of the game needed to be like that we don't destroy the 0-page pointers, so AppleSoft and ProDOS routines are still intact when playing the game. This image here gives a short impression from the development process of the physics engine. I plotted the trajectory of the birds here for debug reasons, and you have an oblique slingshot. We don't consider air friction for the trajectory, so but we still need to solve the motion equations in the velocity x and velocity y direction, and we are doing that using a time step approach. I first tried to do it with 8-bit maths, but that did not work well. So I needed to switch to 16-bit math for better accuracy of the bird's flight trajectory and the target hit algorithm. The flight trajectory is always parabolic using this approach. In order to accomplish 25 different levels, which means we have more or less complicated targets for the birds with pigs that protect each other with building bricks around them. And so we had to think about how can we code this in nice and small, and each target is made up of cells. We have 13 cells in X direction and 7 cells in Y direction, and a cell can contain a brick, a pig, or be plain air. We use at the moment we use 2 bits per cell to record what's in the cell, and this way we can keep the memory size for each level pretty low. So we only need 21 bytes to encode a level. and this makes it possible to put many different levels into the game. And this also allows for extension packs of the game in the future, where we can deliver new levels. One of the hardest problems to solve was implementing a collision detection that really works nicely and gives the user a good feeling that he really hits the target when the bird has contact to a cell, and then the cell content implodes, and you get points for that. So we defined hot pixels in the bird sprite. So we did this by experiment, and we found out that 7 pixels, which are scattered among the edges of the bird, yield good results. So how is collision detection working? For each time step, we check if one of the hot pixels is in a populated cell. So we assume there's a collision. And if we have a collision, we do the target animation where the bricks on the pigs implode. Problem was also that we need to side scroll the target during the bird flight. And this needed some extra elbow grease to figure out the correct collision detection because of the moving targets. The most complex tasks when programming the game was introducing a nice target animation. So when the bird hits the target, there needs to happen something. And so if we directly hit a pig or a brick, we get an implosion of this object, and the bird continues on its trajectory, but it is slowed down due to the impact. And to make it more sophisticated, each bird has a different destructive power. So we have a yellow bird, a red bird, a blue bird, and depending on the bird you're using for destroying the target, you implode also neighboring objects, more or less. And so this is also for the player to develop a bit of a strategy how to attack each target with a special succession of the birds, since the user can change or choose which bird to use to be shot at the target. And more effects is like if we have free bricks, they fall down. Pillars can collapse, and if you shoot a pillar and the pig starts falling down and hit the ground, it will also implode. So you have to plan and aim your shots in advance to get maximum points out of the level. Let me shortly summarize the basic game concepts. I've also mentioned them before. So we have 25 levels with increasing difficulty. You have 3 types of birds with different rates of damage to the structure. You can choose the bird which to shoot next, and you can choose the slingshot energy by pulling the bird more or less in the slingshot. The points you're given for your shot depend on the bird used and the amount of target destruction. And if you manage to shoot all birds before finishing with all the birds available, you get extra points. So if you implode all pigs and have birds left, you get extra bonus points. And the objective of the game is to get as many points as possible, and you have to develop a strategy for each level. And so this means I think you can have lots of fun improving your skills in this game. And of course you can learn at the end the best strategy to reach the highest point in the game. But I think there's still lots of hours of gameplay until you're really mastering each level. We also introduced extra sound effects during the game using the built-in speaker, because not everybody nowadays has a mockingbird in his setup. So I was searching sound routines via web search, and I found several routines that are published today. And so I added sound effects for the slingshot, for the bird's flight, target implosion, and some more. And as a special wish from my friend Daniel, I added a random bird tweeting in random intervals. So I was searching for routines, and I found a UFO starting routine that should resemble the sound of a starting UFO, which I modified to give a bird-like chirping sound. And it really works because I deceived my wife and my kids, like, I let this routine run, and they thought I had some birds caught in my room. So yeah, that's a fun side story of this game. Now at the end, let's have a look at some Angry Birds gameplay. Here's one of the beta testers trying to find bugs in my game engine, and I think it's a real cool game for our kids to play, and my kids had lots of fun testing and playing this game on the old machine. You can see getting bonus points for, yeah, imploding all pigs. So I hope you have enjoyed these insights into our double low res projects. More information is available on our website, 8bitshack.org. You can find freeware and payware downloads. You can find our games. You can find lots of background information and technical details, especially on the production of the Angry Birds game. There's a big technical write-up, and where I go into details of many aspects of the game development and many of the problems that we have been facing during the game development. And if you have any questions, please get into contact with us, and we love to discuss anything related to our games. Thank you very much.